Hey yo, what's up? It's your boy G King. We back for another one. I'm here with Boulevard, and we ready to get into the draft, man. What went down after the draft, how we feel about it. We gonna put our takes, maybe grade a little bit. So, what's up, Boulevard? You ready to get into this?
I'm is ready to get into this.
Yeah, we got all
That's better.
animosity out the way. Although we might get a little aggressive in this one too, but
Ooh, I don't know. I was kind of heated in that when talking about Shador. That kind of pissed me off. But we will talk about Shador in this one.
yep.
We won't be talking about the prank call, so which we'll be talking about his drop off all the way to 144.
It's funny because people just hate this man so much they want him to be popular, and their action is the reason why the man is still probably the highest trending athlete right now.
Mm,
He is the
yeah,
trending athlete. So
because they're still out there bitching and moaning about it. Still trying to find fault in Shador and not the person who actually made the fucking call. But moving forward, we'll get to Shador, his drop off in about 5-6 minutes or so, maybe 8. We'll start with the first pick in the draft because it's only right. Cam Ward. Now, we all know he was the only quarterback with an actual first round grade on him. We know that now. I mean, Jackson Dart was up in the air, Milrow, all them other dudes. Okay, but Cam Ward was the one, like the sure thing as far as they're concerned. That said, is Cam Ward the sure thing? Can Cam Ward save the Tennessee Titans?
nobody can save the Tennessee Titans, but the sale of the Tennessee Titans.
That won't do anything. That just get them under new management. That don't help. Only team that's in recent time that new management has helped is the Commanders. And
Yeah,
the Titans ain't one piece away. Like the Commanders just needed a QB.
they
So
need a lot more than that.
yes.
He might help them, but they don't go into they're not hitting 8 to 9 wins now.
Do they have a bunch of old receivers again? Probably.
I think they have Stephen Ridley. I mean Calvin Ridley. I'm sorry, not Stephen
Mm-hmm.
Ridley.
Yeah, they've always got those washed veterans over there at receiver.
Yeah, they got a
I'm
bunch of
sure he
wide.
can resurrect those careers. I'm sure that run game is going to be solid. But the Dallas cast off, and the guy who couldn't beat out the Dallas cast off.
Yeah,
So I'm sure that's going to go well. I'm sure that line is upright because Levis wasn't in danger at all constantly last year. So I'm sure they fixed that O line, and that defense,
yeah.
as always, is going to be outstanding. So all of this has like a slash S on it because it's sarcasm. None of it's real.
See, my thing about the Cam Ward, I thought Cam Ward was definitely a phenomenal pickup for any team. Like when you want to go out and get a good quarterback, you got a good quarterback.
Mm,
However, Tennessee went out and got a good quarterback, but it's putting their good quarterback in the same position. The
right.
last two quarterbacks they drafted, putting them in the same position. So, I
Yeah.
don't think anything changes because you still haven't given them weapons. You still haven't given them a line to protect them. So
Right.
you haven't given them a running back that can prevent people from being afraid. Like you gotta like they should have kept Derrick Henry. I feel like keeping Derrick Henry would have helped Will Levis because once they got rid of Derrick Henry, there was no threat. There was no threat. I could just
What?
focus on Will Levis.
How's his name? From fucking Dallas.
Uh, Pollard.
Tony Pollard, yeah.
Tony Pollard. Yeah.
Yeah, they were doomed from the start when they got rid of Henry. Hell, when they got rid of A.J. Brown, they were doomed.
Yeah.
They have a habit of just fucking up, making the wrong choice time after time.
They got rid of A.J. Brown and they were just like, we rebuilding. Are you
Yeah.
sure?
AJ Brown, and they tried to get like they just think every player is the damn same because they go out and pick a size of dude that kind of resembles physically AJ Brown, but he's no AJ Brown. Didn't have to
Right.
drive, didn't have to work up it, didn't have to want to be AJ Brown. Or maybe it was just being in Tennessee just drains the life out of every player. Who knows? But players don't want to stay there. That's for damn sure. Nobody wants to stay in Tennessee. So I would say that's a testament to the way the team is operated. And you can see it on the field because they're a
So,
losing franchise that consistently makes bad decisions. So
yeah.
I don't think Cam Ward can be the savior because I don't trust him to put the pieces around him during his rookie deal that will maximize his abilities.
One of the reasons why I know for a fact that the Titans are doomed for like a very long time is because their owner is more preoccupied with stopping the Texans from wearing the Oilers colors than actually building a good team.
Yeah, that is just all stupid
That is
pettiness.
what she's that's
That
what
is
she's focusing
unnecessary.
on.
Like you don't even you. I gotta look something up. Go ahead and talk about it.
Yeah, it's just like she's like, oh, the Texans can't be wear the Oilers jerseys because they're not the Oilers. Neither are you. You're the Tennessee Titans. If you want to
Right,
wear, if you want to claim the Houston Oilers so damn bad, put the Oilers uniform.
right. You
That
go back to wearing it then if y'all
go
wanted
back
to.
to
You
wearing it.
know, right?
If people want to see the Oilers, let them wear the Oilers. Stop bitching.
Hmm.
Like where was all this at when like y'all came in when y'all came in there, y'all weren't the Titans. Like that's what bothers me. The Titans came in, they were not the original Titans. The New York Giants were the original Titans. They weren't they the New York Titans at first.
Yeah, those are the Jets.
Oh, was it the Jets?
Titans are the Jets.
The Jets. So they ain't bitch and
That's not
say, "Oh,
true.
y'all can't be the Titans. Y'all can't be the." That's stupid to me. Like, go ahead with y'all. So, like, she worried about the wrong things instead of building
Yeah,
a
it is
good
the Jets. Okay.
organization. I feel bad for Cam Ward coming in because he's doomed.
Yeah, he's not in the environment where he can have success. So come year one, when he does not get the team off the ground, they're going to be pointing the finger at him like, is something wrong with Cam Ward? Is he not the quarterback we thought he was? No. He got picked with the first pick. The team with the first pick usually fucking stinks. Considering it's Tennessee and they've been bad for a few years, it's going to be at least that long to get back to being at least relevant in
Right.
Tennessee, let alone
And what
competing for even a winning record, let alone a division title.
Yeah, and what exposed this? This is hilarious. What exposed it was last season when what's his name? Jordan Love went down. Malik Willis stepped in for the Packers and did his fucking thing to the point that they were considering not putting Jordan Love back in because Malik Willis was doing a damn good job.
Yeah,
That right there is exposing the fact that the Titans don't know what the hell they're doing. They don't build around what they need to build around. Because if they were building around their quarterbacks to make sure that they wanted to win, they wouldn't have drafted Will Levis. They would have gave him a line. They would have gave him weapons because
right.
they didn't want to. They
No,
got
they're
rid of
doing it
that.
backwards again. They're doing it wrong again. So they're going to get the same results again. The only true casualty of this is going to be Cam Ward. As the
Yes.
Titans and Amy Strunk are just going to keep doing the same shit over and over, expecting a different result. Cam, you got probably 5 years there. Don't buy a house. Just get ready to move.
Yeah,
Just be
get him an
ready to
apartment.
leave in a few years because you may
Get your
not make it through your
$2,500 apartment.
yeah, you might not even make it through your contract. They might be calling you a bust, not taking responsibility for their own shit. It ain't your fault, Cam. Telling you that ahead of time. It's not your fault. Okay, so that was one. We go to two. Travis Hunter ended up going to Duval. Jacksonville gave up the fifth pick, the 36th pick, and the 126th pick. Also next year's first for the second pick, a fourth, and a sixth. to grab Travis Hunter? Did they give up too much, all things considering they're Jacksonville?
I do think they gave up too much because they needed to build their team, and trying to go out and get one guy. And I'm a bit I'm 100% of one of those people that don't believe in giving up so much for one person to go out and get one person. I feel like if I have 7 picks, I'm gonna rock out with 7 picks.
Mm.
Like I'm not going to go trade up to get trade forward to go get one. I'm not doing that. I trade back to get more. I'm not trading up to get one because I feel as though, yeah, you might have answered a question, but that question that you answered with Travis Hunter brings up a different question because you brought in Travis Hunter. Yes, he can probably answer the question of one position, but now you got to figure out which position he's going to answer that question for. Do you need a cornerback? Are you going to let him be the answer at cornerback? Do you need a receiver? Are you going to let him answer that question at receiver? Because you can't have him answer both questions.
They're
He
still
can't
going to need
answer.
both of those.
Yeah, he can't answer both questions because
Right.
what's going to end up happening is like the phrase when they say if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one.
Yeah.
And there's my answer. It's like you got a guy playing two positions. That means you
Mhm.
haven't filled that position. Like just because you got a guy that can't, it's like somebody committing to two somebody saying there two girlfriends. You don't got two girlfriends. You don't even have one because of the simple fact that Travis Hunter, he's playing two positions. He doesn't have a position, so that means you don't have an answer to the position that you went out there and got a need for. Because Travis cannot commit 100% to either side. So that is the problem with the Travis Hunter pick. I feel like you shouldn't have did it. It was a bad move.
Crazy shit. He's in Jacksonville. They'll probably let him try to go 100% on both sides of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They're stupid enough and they're desperate enough to, they need something to excite the fan base because they have none. So
Yeah,
this is the best shot they got at that. Product on the field is still going to be fucking shit, though. They're going to be in the same spot next year. Top 5 pick.
and that's the problem. Since he's going to come in and he's going to be expected to be wide receiver one or not necessarily wide receiver one, but they're going to bring him out there expecting
Well,
him to
no,
be.
Brian Thomas. Is
Yeah,
it Brian
Brian Thomas
Thomas?
is
Yeah.
wide receiver one, but they're going to expect him to be wide receiver two or CB2. Like
Mm-hmm.
you can't have that because what's going to end up happening is he's going to burn himself out. It's one thing if you want to say, well, I'm gonna bring him in, he's gonna play like sporadically on he like the nickel or dime back, with the fork, like in pass heavy situations. I'll bring him in for like 3 plays a series. We'll have him come in, slide into the slot once or twice. But they're gonna have him out there way too much, and that's gonna be the problem. I hope they thought about it before they do it. Duval.
Duval. Let me get out of our rock.
Duval. Dumb shit. Sound dumb. They sounded dumb the second they signed them. They're gonna look dumb. When they signed that coach, they hired him as the coach. They looked dumb. He came in there making your organization look dumb and trading all those picks for a guy that y'all not even sure we not gonna put him at, make y'all look dumb. Jacksonville degresses.
I gotta say, I think he's definitely going to corner because they don't need him as desperately at receiver.
They don't.
They do need him desperately at corner. I don't know if I give up trade up to get him to play corner.
Right.
That's what they did. Jacksonville does.
That's the problem.
They do bullshit. Like I said, they desperate to excite the fan base. Sunshine ain't do it.
Still to this day,
ain't do it.
still to this day, and I'm gonna say it because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins exist. I still don't believe that Jacksonville Jaguar fans are real.
They're not.
bots.
They're not.
NPCs.
Jacksonville's not a real place.
Right. There's NPCs.
Right. All right. You said earlier, if you got 2 quarterbacks on your roster, you got no quarterbacks on your roster. Now let's say you got a whole 5 quarterbacks on your roster. One of your quarterbacks is Deshaun Watson, who's injured and likes to force people to touch him. And one person is Joe Flacco, who I'm pretty sure is a grandfather. And who am I missing? One person he just traded for, and Kenny Pickett, whose name is Kenny Pickett, and the answer is yes. So then, on top of having that 3-stack of nothing, the triple stack of garbage, double down and go into the draft and grab Dylan Gabriel out of Oregon. So you're like, okay, so that means she's going to be competing for a spot and somebody's going to have to get cut. But no, my friend. They double down and go grab Shedeur Sanders in the 5th at 144. Trading up to get ahead of Philly, who may or may not have wanted him. They traded up to get ahead of Philly to get Shedeur Sanders after drafting a quarterback. Why?
Oh.
That's all people want to know. Why?
Yeah. If you have 5 quarterbacks, you have none. And here's the worst part.
Really? We have 5, you have none? I think that is as desperate as it gets.
It's like, oh my, dude, this right here is the definition of throwing shit at the wall, hopes up it sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Because you might have been cooking with something when you brought in Flacco and Kenny Pickett. Might have been cooking with something, just like Flacco wasn't really the bridge. It was Kenny Pickett being the bridge guy. But then you brought in Dylan Gabriel, and I'm like, that's gonna be a bust. I'm telling you right now.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that, and I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. He's undersized, and he's a Hawaiian quarterback. Okay. That tells you my body is not they just don't work out. Like those quarterbacks just don't work out. I don't know when the last time an Oregon quarterback really did what they were supposed to do. You could tell me if
Mariota's had a good career, but not for where he was picked.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know when the last Oregon quarterback that really did the damn thing.
Joey Harrington? No, he didn't do the damn thing.
Yeah.
It's Gabriel. Okay, so no, I can't think of any. I'm sure there's possibly.
So, like right off the bat, from a perspective of what's proven, Shedeur is the best quarterback on that roster.
Mm-hmm.
And
Flacco's the best quarterback on the roster, but as far as upside, it's Shedeur. Absolutely.
Yeah. Like if you want to build a team around somebody, Shedeur is the best person you want to do it. Yeah. But they won't admit that because they picked up Dylan Gabriel. Like you're not gonna because you're not building around Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett just that. He's gonna be the backup no matter who's starting. It'll probably be Flacco for the start. And this is the problem. This is the problem with Cleveland. You can never make up your fucking mind about a quarterback. This is why you'll have 4 quarterbacks start this season. It's a damn shame.
And the best quarterback they had in the last, 10, 15, 30 years, they immediately got rid of him. And then he went off and had success elsewhere.
I'm going to name a couple quarterbacks that done well with the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns was like, fuck off. Tyrod Taylor did an all right job. Flacco did an all right job. Tyrod Taylor was winning games with them. Jameis Winston actually had these guys competing for a playoff spot. Like they were actually in the bubble. They were on the bubble. Like all they needed was somebody else to lose. Now, that's not really what you want. But for Cleveland Brown to be in that position, that's better than whatever product y'all have had for the last 10 or so years. So, and then y'all had Baker. Y'all gave up on Baker, which was like
a Brownsian ass move.
Yeah. So I feel like I wouldn't be surprised in 3 years none of those quarterbacks are on their roster.
That's a safe bet. Flacco will be gone, Pickett will be gone, Watson will be gone, and either Gabriel or Sanders or both could be gone 3 years down the road. They could all be gone. We could be looking at this shit like, damn, what a disaster the Browns are. Again, they'll just add more names to that list of starting quarterbacks in the Browns' history. I can imagine there could be 5 different names on that list this season. That's ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So I guess the only logical question is who actually gets cut? Who meets the Turk?
So I think what's going to happen is Deshaun Watson's going to be on IR, so he won't count against the team's roster. They'll probably restructure that again.
Yeah, they restructured. They restructured Watson to get 22 in cap space.
I think it was 35. I don't know. I don't remember.
Some huge number. I don't know the number.
They restructured, but I think, well, he's got that. Because I know they got to put some type of clause in there to protect him if he can't play. If I don't fuck with fully guaranteed, I would never. Yeah. I think it's going to be Dylan Gabriel that's going to be on the practice squad. Dylan Gabriel just 100% looked like a UFL quarterback. Like, he's a UFL quarterback. He's going to be.
You think they put him on practice squad, somebody won't claim him? Or Sanders off a practice squad?
It'll be Sanders is that person that even though that nobody agrees, like so many people hate this man, if somebody they put him on the practice squad, Shador will be claimed within 12 hours of being put to the practice squad. Or whatever.
Yeah, I'm saying he will get claimed on waivers. That both of them would get claimed on waivers almost immediately. So I don't know how well that will work out with them being on the practice squad. And I mean, it makes sense though that but
I think the same with Kenny Pickett.
It'll be Flacco because they gave up value for Pickett.
Yeah,
and he's just going to have to go with Sanders or Gabriel as his immediate backup. I mean, I don't know how roster negotiations that well. That's why I'm saying somebody could claim one of those two. I don't know if that's actually possible or not, but
it would be
limited knowledge. Yeah, they could get claimed. They would get claimed immediately.
Yeah, and I think the same about Pickett. He'll be claimed immediately. I don't see Pickett sitting around a free agency long.
No, I would think Pickett would probably be the out the gate starter if Flacco gets cut for as far as depth.
I think
running
Flacco is basically there to coach these guys up in the offseason and he walks.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't make the final. He doesn't get on the field because when you drafted those 5, like you got your 5 on the roster, you know for a fact that you're coming into the season with 4 because Deshaun will not play the season.
Right.
But, so Flacco, when they do that 53, Flacco probably already knows that he's going. He's not going to be. He knows. But that's the problem with the Browns. It's like they have no idea what they want to do. They got 3 quarterbacks, and they'll probably see all 3 quarterbacks start this year.
Yeah, seems possible. The one they start to jump out the gate with will probably fall on their face. Even if it's not their fault, they don't have much to work with. So
they'll start Pickett the first 3 weeks, and then they'll move on to Pickett after that. They'll throw Gabriel in after that for like 3 weeks. And they'll throw Sanders in there for like 3 weeks. Because the team will not get a rhythm because they're ass. It has nothing to do with who's their quarterback. It's 100% because the team is ass. They're run by Kevin Stefanski because he's just a horrible coach. He's a horrible coach.
Stefanski.
I think it's Stefanski, and I'm gonna tell you why I think
Stefanski when it was shit before Stefanski got there. It's been shit. It's no coach in that situation can succeed. None.
No, I agree with you, but here's the reason why I think it's why I would say I put blame on Stefanski because right off the bat, you mean to tell me that he ain't had no part in saying that, fine. When knowing that Deshaun Watson is not going to fit your system, He doesn't like their system. Like these stories didn't come out about him way before it. So
Right.
you you come in there and you have a system where your quarterback just doesn't work. And you didn't change anything to try to fit that quarterback.
Right.
That's on him. I have
Mhm.
to like he's the play caller. He calls the plays. So you're telling me that none of your quarterbacks you had, and you couldn't draw anything up to fit any of the quarterbacks you had. You had Dorian Taylor Thompson or Dorian Thompson Taylor or Robinson. I don't know his name.
PTR.
Yeah, Pat Blue
Okay.
Ribbon. Like
God,
he
that
hasn't
sounds
done
delicious.
anything. Like so, I mean, I know he's not a bad coach, but I feel like he does have horrible decision making tactics that doesn't help.
Yeah,
Like
he's shown that. Yeah.
so, I think that's the problem. I mean, because I know he doesn't. He's not in charge of personnel. I know that, but it's also somebody, and it's also I put a lot of blame on Andrew Berry because Andrew Berry is just exposing himself as like just a complete idiot. He's a clusterfuck of a GM.
Jeez.
Like I don't know. For you to draft two quarterbacks in the draft when you have other weapons, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You're an idiot. If you have five quarterbacks on your roster, you're an idiot.
hmm And like that's like, you have no quarterback. You're not set a quarterback, and you don't have enough weaponry around the
Yes.
quarterbacks that you have. So you're it's destined for failure because you're not going to be able to get good free agents in there anyway. So it's not like you can do a quick rebuild or try to build a dream team or whatever you want to call it because you can't do none of that because you're fucking Cleveland. There's
Yeah.
no option, no pathway to success. They draft poorly and they can't get talent in the building. So whoever's there is doomed to fail. Be it Gabriel, Shadur, Pickett, Flacco, or serial rapist.
Mm,
They're all
mm,
destined to fail. And that's just the Cleveland way.
mm.
I don't know. Speaking of stupid decisions, the Giants drafted Jackson Dart. The crowd wants to know, well, our fans sent in this one. They just wanted to know, is that a bad move? Was that a bad move to sign Jackson Dart with a first round pick?
Honestly, I'll say yeah, only because I'm trying to see, like from my perspective, I was like, in this situation, y'all didn't need like when in a draft where the quarterbacks aren't that good, you don't need a quarterback right because you have Russ and you have Jameis. They're not like guaranteed to get you everything, but they're going to get you just as many wins as Jackson Dart, if not more.
Yes.
So you got Russell. We know he can ball. I'm not even going to hate on him. He can ball. So why not instead of trying to draft the starter for like 5 years down the road because you still have Jameis. Like let's say Russell only plays 2 more years. Jameis probably could play 5 more years.
I don't think either one of them are signed long term. But
True.
either way, like this wasn't like
Yeah.
you're right though. Because the confidence like you have two quarterbacks already. When are you going like why you need other things?
Yes.
Okay, because you're trying to make a long term choice, but you're already reaching. So you're already having to reach to grab Jackson Dart, who didn't really have a first round grade on him in the
Mm-hmm.
first. You could have traded back for more picks. You could have picked up something that could actually complement Malik Neighbors or
Yeah.
Tyrone Tracy or continue to build the line. Anything defensively, any of that would have been more useful than wasting a first round pick on a player who won't start this year. Any
Right.
of that would have been more useful because you need all sorts of shit. But you wasted your first round pick on a quarterback that may not even see the field at all for your franchise.
Yeah.
Not
And
this year, not next year, maybe not 3 years down the road.
mhm. And that's one thing I like when I look at the decisions by certain GMs, I look at their division and I'm looking at the people that we drafted, and I'm like, so look at the Commanders. A lot of the decisions that they made in the offseason were to help them compete against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the Dallas Cowboys. Their decisions, some of their decision making, there was to help them compete against the Philadelphia Eagles. They tried to shore up their
I don't know
offense.
for certain they are trying to compete.
Well, I wouldn't say that they're trying to compete, but I feel as though like Dallas at least went out trying to repair their offensive line. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like the Giants didn't do anything to help them compete against a division that's just going to leave them in the dust.
Right.
Because I look at the Commanders, they went out and got people. They're like, we want to win, and we're going to try to win. We want to compete with the Eagles. And then Dallas, they went out and got Abdul Carter. Probably the smartest choice they could have made.
You mean the Giants?
I mean, yeah, the Giants went and got Abdul Carter. The Cowboys got Tyler Booker because they were weak on the line. They need to fix that line. They want to shore up that line. They want to be able to compete and hold the ball. They wanted to be able to defend against that fucking disgusting.
I like that pick.
So,
I like the Booker pick. I want a Booker.
I do. A lot of people don't. A lot of Cowboys fans don't like the pick. I think that's Booker a smart decision.
At 32.
I will never disagree with that because football, this is football, and football is won in the trenches. And I feel like you go in, you shore up that offensive line. And that's why I call Howie Roseman like the GOAT, because he goes trenches first. And that's where it's won. You got a good line, anybody can succeed. Listen, I've seen players on the semi-pro level. They can be trash, but once they got a nice blocking, they can do some crazy things. And that's what you need. The Lions, I mean, not the Lions, the Giants, Joe Sheen, that old line is atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
And they did nothing. I don't think they did anything for you to feel happy about it. If you're a Giants fan, you're happy about the Abdul Carter pick, obviously, because he was like the best person you could get. You don't let him pay. He's on your board. You don't let him go. That's kind of why I think the Titans should have went Abdul Carter first. They didn't do anything to shore that up. And now here you are, you're in a position where you're going to be trailing again against a great team because instead of picking the best person, you tried to be slick. You didn't want to work.
That never worked.
Like, I get them getting Abdul Carter. I get that. But trading back in to get Jackson Dart was kind of like, I'm going to trade back in. And this is what I think. This is what I think happened. I feel like they traded back in. And, you know, when I think this is where I think, like, it's like a game to these people because they're trying to get the people talking on the Twitter sphere. They're trying to get people adrenaline up, get the excitement up, get the pop. Kind of like pop professional wrestling in a sense. They're trying to get your excitement up for the big flash, you know? Oh, the Giants trading up to get Shador. And then they got Jackson Dart. They're like, you traded up and didn't do anything with that pick.
Yeah.
That's
exactly.
what I look like with Jackson Dart. I'm like, I wouldn't have did it. I'm not a fan.
Right. I mean, I like how I said that they could have gotten a pick, like somebody to help Tyrone Tracy in the backfield. They got Cam Scatterbo, who seems to have a lot of hype, but like y'all just wasting y'all damn time. Y'all fooling yourselves with that shit. That ain't nothing but Peyton Hillis at best. So fuck out of here with that. That's how I feel about the Cam Scatterbo talk. But they've added some pieces that could work out in an environment that was actually healthy for developing players, but it's not in the Giants universe. Nowhere near a healthy environment to develop. That's why they don't develop players. So expect more out of the same. Abdul Carter will probably be a star, but he'll be a star on the Giants, which is the same thing as Myles Garrett. So,
Mm-hmm.
sorry,
Ooh.
Giants fans. This ain't going to change nothing. It ain't going to change a damn thing. But you know what will change the damn thing?
What's that?
Ashton Genty to the Raiders. Geno Smith, Ashton Genty, Brock Bowers. What do you think? Playoffs? Winning record? Super
Yes.
Bowl?
No. So I think
I don't know what you say yes to.
I think they'll compete for the playoffs. They'll be in the running for the playoffs. I think they'll be a better team this year. But I don't know how much the Genty changes things. It's more so Geno.
The fuck?
It's more so Geno and Pete Carroll that changes it. Because Pete Carroll's a winner. He can do it. He knows what he's doing. Not sure how Aston Genty's going to fit into a Chip Kelly system. I want to see it. I'm curious about it. Yeah, I want to see how Ashton Genty looks on against a pro defense, against a defense that's actually going to be able to compete with him. So that's what I want. I'm really curious about that. I would like to see it. I'm not going to. That's not a bad pick. I don't think that was a bad pick. I felt like they needed a running back, and I felt like they were just playing games with running backs that they had.
Yeah, Sincere just wasn't it. So.
Yeah, I think this is a good pickup for them.
Mm-hmm. So they made two good pickups. Picked up two weapons, two strong, solid, nasty weapons on offense past two first round.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can just fill in everything around them, get some strong, build that lineup for one, get that lineup to at least above average quality, really both sides. And, they should have something. From here on, they got to focus on that line and get a younger quarterback for the long term. Maybe they could have been better off taking Jackson Dart or Jalen Milroe later on in the draft, but they didn't. Neither here nor there. But how long you think this roster can get to the playoffs in 2 seasons?
I would say 2. I think they can get there this year.
That division is definitely on the upswing. Denver's moving up. San Diego's moving up. Kansas City's Kansas City. So, playoffs, I mean, obviously, the fucking division is out of reach. But
yeah,
one step at a time, maybe they could compete for the 7th wild card. Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, you got Chip running the offense. That should bode well. You got intelligence upstairs in the front office for once.
Mm-hmm.
There's hope there. And there's never hope when it comes to the Raiders. Unless you're one of them nut job Raiders fans and the spikes and the face paint and the war helmets and all of that, whatever. Jack Beck was a good pick for the Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these other players that they picked up. I don't know Tonka Truck Hemingway or JJ Segway. I don't know any of these people. But I can actually kind of trust the people in charge over there. They know what they're doing for once. And that the guy with the weird fucking Dumb and Dumber haircut isn't the one making the decisions.
Who, Mike Meyer? I mean, what's his name? Mike
Davis.
Mayock.
No, not Mike Mayock. Mike Mayock can go to hell.
Bushlag.
Yeah.
Tasmanian Devil.
Yeah, exactly. That guy with his grown-ass 60-year-old man with that haircut. What's wrong with you? I would never trust a man with that haircut. Never trust a grown man with that haircut.
What was the dude name from Dumb and Dumber?
I don't remember.
Not Jim Carrey character, but the other dude's character.
Lloyd.
He got that haircut.
Yeah. Dumb and Dumber cut. Yeah, that's what he looked like. An idiot. Lloyd.
It looked like he should be walking around with an oversized lollipop.
Yes. And he's clearly been a problem in Oakland for years. He clearly does not make good decisions. You can tell by the haircut. He does not make good decisions.
Oh man.
Now we got people. Now we got actual adults there making adult decisions, and the team looks better in an off season. It already looks better. So maybe they can compete for a second wild card. If not this year, a couple more picks next year, they'll be good to go. They're on the right track for once.
I agree.
And that's creepy. All right, Ravens drafted Malachi Starks. That's good. He'll be playing next to Kyle Hamilton in that secondary.
That's another pick that they jumped in just to spike the Eagles.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed that. I would have enjoyed Malachi Starks coming to Philly.
They jumped in front of the Eagles again.
Well, he wasn't the one I wanted to talk about. It was their second pick. Mike Green had a first-round grade, but he dropped all the way damn near out of the second round where they got him at 59 because of 2 allegations of actual assault. I think I can say it that way, actual assault. He put his things on people that didn't want him to put his things on them.
Did they drop it? They turned out it was no evidence or something.
Yeah, probably. Either way, he got off both times. I don't mean that in a dirty way, you bastards. My question is, with those allegations, is he going to get the Deshaun Watson treatment?
No.
See, that ain't right. But you're right.
I believe the reason why I believe, like, at first I didn't believe the Deshaun Watson situation until I saw him in videos of Mia Khalifa.
Mm.
Once I saw him in videos of Mia Khalifa, I was like, yeah, he did that shit.
Yeah. All right.
That's like that time when I saw OJ was taking pictures, taking selfies with Suge Knight. Like, he did that shit. It didn't really happen, but he did that shit.
Okay, so you don't think he'll get treated like shit, basically ostracized for it?
No, because I feel like if they was going to do it, they would have been doing it already.
They were. That's what I mean. The league, the scouts, he was off of a lot of teams' boards altogether. Like Eagles had no intention of drafting him. He was not on the Eagles board.
Yeah, I get that part, but I feel like it wasn't as big a story as Deshaun Watson.
No, because he wasn't a pro. He was at Marshall University. Nobody gives a shit about Marshall.
Yeah, but like
that one team from the 70s that vanished because they died. Nobody gives a shit about Marshall.
Listen, I was supposed to. I think I was supposed to watch that movie. I can never get past like a certain point. It makes me fall asleep every time.
I'm sure.
Marshall.
Yeah, that one.
Like, I don't even know if they ever got the I don't know if they got a full team together because I never. What?
I don't know. The only time you heard about Marshall was what? I think Randy Moss, Byron Leftwich being carried down the field. I want to say Champagne's name, but I'm not sure. But yeah, nobody gives a shit about Marshall. That's why it wasn't a story. But now that he's in the pros, I mean, I don't know that they will just like fans can just let it slide. Because the hypocrisy with that would be so strong, especially being Ravens fans. All the shit that we know Ravens fans gave Browns fans for Deshaun Watson, they'd have to put that on Mike Green. Because it's all alleged in Mike Green's case. It says it was mostly alleged. I'm pretty sure he just ended up paying off and didn't accept guilt. Deshaun Watson didn't accept guilt. So what's the difference? It's good for Deshaun Watson. It's good for Mike Green. Give him the same fucking energy y'all gave Deshaun Watson. Otherwise, you're full of shit and you don't care.
Well, a lot of fans are full of shit.
Yeah.
I think it'll. I don't know. I feel like it just depends on if the story seems deep enough. I don't know.
Well, Ravens fans, that's your edge rusher now. So, like I said, give him the same energy y'all have for Deshaun Watson.
Listen, I say
otherwise y'all full of shit.
They need to give them all the same energy y'all gave Brian Banks and Sean Oakland. The quarter.
Those stories didn't even make it that far. I'm talking about pros here.
I know.
Nobody gave Brian Banks anything because he was in jail. He never made it to the pros.
He got there. He got there after
he got a
served his
tryout.
time.
He didn't make it. He got a tryout.
He got signed.
He got a tryout.
And then
That
they
boy
screwed
didn't make
Sean
it.
Oakman. The girl ended up coming clean.
Yeah,
Sean Oakman
but
never
both
got it.
counts. But yeah, with both of them, they came clean. But I mean,
It sucks.
yeah. He
He
got
lives
2
in-
allegations. Deshaun Watson had a bunch of allegations too. They already got one dude on the team, and the kicker that's got a bunch of fucking things that he's facing.
With
in a
Justin
similar
Tucker.
realm. Yeah. So at some point, y'all, they gotta face the damn music and approach these same players the same way they approach Watson, because it's the same fucking charges.
It is. It is.
They're all within the same fucking bubble, same fucking Venn diagram. So
Listen,
give
put them all
him,
together on
he
the
better
same-
have y'all better have the same energy for Mike Green, same energy for Justin Tucker, same energy y'all gave to Deshaun Watson.
I say put a whole team together.
No, nobody want to play for that team. That team ain't gonna have no damn medical department. Like they ain't gonna have no staff. They ain't gonna have no damn concierge because ain't nobody gonna want to deal with them. Like you can't go in that locker room and interview people after the damn game. Everybody went around helicoptering.
And they had coach gonna be Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp gonna be the head coach.
Oh Lord.
Jesus.
All right. I'm jumping past that because this is already gonna be on my neck. We covered the Cowboys, right? We covered their sign of fuck up. This is the Cowboys. We covered them. We said their name, enough recognition.
That was all you needed to say.
Oh, more important shit. Jalen Milroe went to Seattle. Does he finish the season as the QB?
Yes.
I agree. What is it? Darnold? Is it Darnold over there? Okay, yeah, he finished.
I feel like he's in a great position right now.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he doesn't come off end up starting at the end of the year, he has got a quarterback that's going to help him.
If the Seahawks come out the gate slow, 0-3-ish, they're going to be calling for Milroe immediately. Yeah. So it's a strong possibility by week 9, Milroe could already be in the lineup.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm fine with that. You got Milroe to Jackson Smith and Jigba. I like that. I like that backfield. I like Seattle, but I like Seattle even more with Milroe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he can get the wins that they couldn't get last year. All right. Now, just other shit. Okay. Packers drafted another 2 wide receivers in the draft. And what was it? Michael Golden? Marcus Golden? What the hell's his name? Golden?
Yeah, they got Golden.
And Savion Williams.
Yeah.
But they still don't have a number 1 receiver. What do you do? How are they ain't got space to play all these damn receivers. What do you do?
This is another case of throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Because what do you do? Because you have to make a decision. So you have to. So you're telling me that Dobbs, Wicks, Watson, you're not confident.
That's it, yeah.
So
not confident in any of those. Well, I mean, not confident for them to take the reins. They're confident enough to put them out there.
So now you got all these receivers and no answers. No.
Reed, Dubs, Watson,
shit, I forgot about
Wicks. They got Cole Hartman, and now they have Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. What was it, 8 receivers I just named? And that's not even all of them that they're carrying right now?
That's not even all of them. They got a whole circus team.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to cut. Just looking at this, just looking at what ESPN has, I see 12 different receivers. So, and you got 12 different receivers, but all you got at the most is a bunch of number twos and Mecole Hardman. Like,
And Mecole Hardman ain't even himself no more.
right. Like, what difference is this going to make? Is either of these receivers going to be the missing piece that takes them to the next step?
I feel like they're about to cut a lot of guys.
They
Probably
ain't got no choice.
Watson's probably gone. I think Wicks and Reed are probably gone. Maybe not.
Reed's number one receiver.
Reed will probably still be there, but I think Wicks and Watson are probably gone.
Oh, it's the deeper down the chart ones that are going to.
Well, yeah, those guys are definitely gone.
Yeah,
I'm talking about the guys you named because
at least one of
Watson Hardman too,
or Wicks. Hardman's out. Yeah,
Hardman's gone.
Same. Wicks or Watson, yeah, one of them probably won't make the team.
I think you'll see Dobbs will stay, Reed will stay, Warren, Golden, and probably because teams don't keep more than 5 or 6 receivers on the depth chart nowadays. So,
right, there's definitely a practice squad or two on that list.
Yeah.
That wide receiver room going to be out of chairs. There's no more chairs in the room. It's full to capacity.
Because you can't keep what they definitely can't keep Watson.
Right.
He's going to be on the block. Wicks is
you don't need a bouncer in that wide receiver room.
You won't need a lot in that wide receiver room.
Right. Speaking of log jams, though, giggity, the Panthers picked up Trevor Etienne in the draft. They already had Jonathan Brooks, Chuba Hubbard, and Rico Dowdle. What the fuck? Why?
I don't know.
Are they not going to pay Chuba? Is that what it is? They're not going to pay Chuba and Jonathan Brooks is injured, but Jonathan Brooks ain't that injured. So I'm not even sure he is injured at the moment. I think he's injured. Either way, Rico Dowdle's out.
Rico Dowdle's definitely out. Why pick up Rico Dowdle?
Desperation. They thought they needed another damn running back. There's only so many running backs you can put on the field at once. There's only so many running backs you can run in rotation. Because otherwise you're just fucking up the rotation. If you got 3 running backs right now getting like 10 reps each, that ain't wrong work.
I feel like 3 running backs is the most you need. Like you need somebody that's going to be a heavy. You need a pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
Your main squeeze.
Yeah,
that's crazy. You got any more than that? That's crazy.
Right. So out of Brooks, let's say they're all at full strength. Brooks, Hubbard, and Etienne, because we're saying Dowdle's out. Who's going to get the bulk of the carries?
It'll probably be Brooks. Etienne's going to be your pass catcher. They're going to use him for those pass plays. Problem is, you look at Chuba and Brooks, they both big dudes.
All right.
They both bigger body backs. So I don't know how you want to do that. I don't know what type of system that Carolina runs. I haven't figured that part out. I'm still trying to figure out what type of system they run.
Looks like they're running run heavy, run first.
And their receiving core don't really have me. I'm not really excited. It's just not much there.
Right.
So I don't know what to think.
Me either. It just looks like a disaster over there. But, I mean, they ended the season well, which has no bearing on us. But somebody's going to come out of camp as a starter, but nobody's going to be locked into that position for the season.
Yeah.
It's going to be rotating. And as far as, for instance, fantasy value, let alone their own numbers, none of these players are going to be relevant.
Yeah, the rotisserie backs.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
That for him.
All right. Now we can get into the fun stuff. Because that was not the fun stuff, believe it or not, people.
We about to go. We about to pull a FFA for him.
Yeah. Who was the biggest loser of the draft?
The biggest loser of the draft? The Rams.
How so?
They didn't have a first round pick.
Oh, yeah. They do fuck up constantly.
Because all the starters were gone. Anybody that can really come in and immediately change anything was gone.
Mm-hmm.
They were going in like the first 10 rounds, the first 10 picks. So I don't really blame them. No, actually, Cleveland was the biggest loser in the draft. I don't think they picked up anything. I don't even remember who their first round pick was. That's how memorable it is. They traded out.
They moved down to 5. No, yeah, they moved down to 5. So they picked somebody of quality. Let me go check.
I don't even remember.
Cleveland got. I feel like I know this answer. Was Graham? Was it Mason Graham?
Yeah.
Yes, Mason Graham. Mason Graham in the first, Schlesinger in the second, and Judson in the second. Fannin, Gabriel. Rams had a solid draft.
They had a solid draft. I don't think they're not the greatest losers. I can't even think of it. I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I probably had to go back and look at that one.
Well, I went with the Jaguars because giving up what they gave up for Hunter, and there's a lot of more boom bust than people want to admit with Hunter. There's a lot of possibility for bust. You can overwork him. You can just overstimulate his brain with too much information. You can just have too many damn reps. Or you can just shit the bed on one side of the ball altogether. So the fact that they traded up when they needed so many pieces to get a guy who has a higher chance of failure than anybody wants to admit. And I'm not even hating. I want him to succeed, but I don't think it's feasible to succeed the way that he's expected to.
Yeah.
Running both sides of the ball, there's just no way. So I'm going to say the Jaguars. Because if they don't regret it this year, they're going to regret it in a few years.
Yeah. So, I don't disagree with that.
I'm going to go with the Jaguars. All right, so what team helped yourself the most then?
I'm trying to weigh in what teams lost and what they gained. See, the Giants made like the biggest impact with their first round pick that they got up through card. But that pick ain't do nothing. Doesn't really help the team. I'm trying to think of it.
I was going to go with the Bears, but I think I'm going with the Raiders. That's where I went through their whole list, or maybe even Cleveland, even though they fucked up later on in the draft. They picked up enough pieces to where 2-3 years down the road, they might actually have some hope where they can find a quarterback by then. They'll have some nice young pieces still on first contracts that they can work with.
Yeah.
Mostly Fannin, because I really wanted Philly to get Fannin to replace Cowboys.
I did want Fannin. I was very upset that Fannin didn't get it either.
Yeah. Well, a lot of my liking of their picks is, in fact, just me liking that they got Fannin, because Fannin, he'll be backing up Njoku for now, but he's going to take that spot sooner than later.
See, my issue with this draft was it's just like there wasn't a lot of starters that came out of the draft. Right. There wasn't a lot of guys that's coming out and is going to start. like as opposed to last year's draft. A lot of those guys are starters.
Mm. I think about the same amount of starters come in every year. It's just this year they're not going to be like starters. It's not going to find wide receiver starters or running
Yeah,
back starters or even quarterback starters in this year. You're not going to find a lot of those. What you're going to find is a lot of O linemen and D linemen and unknown, unheralded players that you haven't heard of that are actually going to make the rosters and get time, get a strong percentage of downs. And, yeah.
yeah,
This is what I've been calling like a meat and potatoes draft. It's not the you don't get the pretty players, the glamorous
yeah.
stars. You're getting the roughage.
Right.
Then that's good.
It's
Because
like
you
mid.
need that. You need
It's
that foundation.
yeah. This like the midnight dinner.
Yeah.
Like you got all your basic meals, but you're still a little hungry. You need a little bit of something, but nothing too big. Go ahead and do a midnight snack.
I had SOS for my snack.
It sounds like something I can't eat.
Shit on a shingle? Should be, bro.
I can't eat
All right. Who is your favorite pick in the draft?
My favorite pick in the draft.
By the way, y'all, if you're still watching, you could have answered these questions yourself. I want to know what y'all think too.
My favorite.
Yeah, don't worry, y'all care what I think, but I want to know.
Ah, shit. I had to come back to that one.
Okay, that's the last question.
All right, give me like 5 seconds because I had a couple guys that like I wanted to see get drafted, and I was like very excited about. Malachi Starks was like a big player.
Mm.
Um, he was like I like Malachi Starks because I really wanted him to go to Philadelphia, but Abdul Carter was another guy who was just like really good. He was probably, in my opinion, the best player in the draft. I wasn't big on Genty. I did not care much for Genty.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't care much for him. I like he was just one of those guys that just like he could or could not depend on where he goes. Like he's not one of those running backs that's gonna come in and shake the fucking system, but he wasn't there. There was that tight end named Copeland. He was like one of my favorites. Copeland. He was the Michigan tight end, number 18. Loveland. That was Loveland.
Okay.
He might have been my favorite. He just had like that body shape of like a tight end, is going to be able to move around, catch passes, and actually be what.
Oh, you like his body shape, huh?
He reminded me of a Gary Kittle. George Kittle. I said Gary Kittle.
Gary Kittle.
He reminded me of George Kittle. He gave me George Kittle vibes. I like him as a tight end. He was probably
good vibes.
He's probably one of my favorite tight ends. I think the tight ends were like my favorite because it was another tight end that came out as well.
Tyler Warren?
Yeah. Was that the Penn State guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was wearing Dallas Clark's number. Yeah, it wasn't a lot of people. It was just like, oh, I'm excited about like it wasn't a lot of like I'm excited to see where this person goes.
Right.
I think I was more interested in seeing what happens after the first round because it was just like the way the first round went. It just was nothing was going the way I thought it would go. Like watching Shador fall kind of like ruined it for me because I was actually excited to see Shador go in the first. We weren't even watching when Shador was drafted. Boulevard
No,
Man. But I was not
no,
watching.
I was watching. Yeah, but I was watching the FFA fantasy special too when he went.
I was on
They
the
kind of called it
sideline
a
at a
second
football
ahead
game.
of time.
I was on the sideline at a football game.
Hmm.
So yeah, that
My
was
pick was Will Johnson,
the
the
lineman.
cornerback.
Oh, the right.
Yeah, comparing they had him compared to J.C. Horn. You know, dude who just got the big deal. He's got good size. He's got good athleticism. There's nothing not to like about him. He just can't. He just had an injury last season, so I guess that's the reason he dropped. I can't think of any other reason why he would drop that far. But way to 47 when you're a first round grade, it's got to be the turf toe.
My favorite quarterback to come out this year. I'll say who my favorite quarterback to get drafted this year was Kyle McCord. I'm kidding.
Really?
No,
Hmm.
the best. My favorite quarterback that came out was the guy that wasn't even drafted. He was signed. It was the Florida State guy that you were talking about. Um, I can't pronounce his name. It's like Ula something.
No, DJ Wagalele.
Yeah,
That's
he
your
was my
favorite quarterback coming out?
he was my favorite quarterback coming out.
Why?
I'm not sure. It just I don't know. I have a I like the Florida State uh the the aesthetic of the Florida State quarterback. I don't know. Just
Okay.
something. This wasn't a lot. Like I just wasn't really excited about this draft. Like the players coming out didn't really excite me. It's like you said, it was a meat and potatoes draft. It was more like the players that you're not expecting to come out and like you're just looking to fill those pieces, fill like gaps, but you're not expecting much. Like guys that's actually going to change your team as as much as last year. Like last year was a big draft. This year was just like the excitement wasn't there because you're like waiting for that big name and it's just never coming. It wasn't there. And I think that's where the vibe was lost for me because I was just waiting because it was just like you know what you're getting and it's not like game changer. You're not getting a game changer. Because I don't think any player that was drafted is a game changer. So none of it
That's
really
not
excited.
true at all because they're definitely game changers in this draft. Like, I mean, people don't have first round grades on some of these players because they were just okay. They were
Well,
they're
no, I don't think they're
dark.
okay. I think the problem is here, this is what the problem is. I think is those game changers, like those guys who like are going to change that could really like raise the bar for that team. Got drafted by teams whose bars were so low, it almost doesn't matter. Like I could see Abdul Carter being a tenacious disruptor, causing sacks on big plays, and the team just lets him down.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean. Like,
That's a team, though. It's a team.
well, yeah, yeah,
One
I
player
know that.
doesn't change a franchise unless it's a quarterback.
Yeah,
So
and I
players
think
aren't
that's
going to
where
come in and change the game on anything because that rarely ever happens any year. It's like, yeah, you had a few players step up last year. It'll be the same way this year. We just don't know who those players are because there were no sure things or popular names that automatically mean they're going to make it. These were players who got down and worked hard and earned it. It wasn't just a bunch of flashy, popular
that's also
pop
true.
art. It wasn't a bunch
That's
of
also
pop
true.
stars in the draft. They were trying to make it sound musical. There wasn't a bunch of popular stars, bunch
Yeah,
of Taylors or Britneys. There were
yeah,
like the ones you never hear of. It's like the role players, but they don't get they're role players, but they can do everything. Like a
yeah,
Jihad Campbell, who can play the edge and play inside linebacker. You got same with D tackles. They can play edge, they can play inside. You got
yeah,
linemen that can play all five positions.
yeah.
You got,
And you saw
they're
a
not
lot of that in this
glory
draft.
hogs. They're not attention
Yeah,
seekers. They're not stars because not every player is a star. There were many unremarkable players in the NFL. Like, I mean, Trey Hendrickson. for one, who doesn't get the spotlight on them. These aren't those kind of players, but these are players that are necessary to build any franchise.
Yeah,
You don't
gap
need
fillers.
stars to build a team. You need players that are good and can do their assignments properly, play after play.
Exactly.
You
Yeah,
have
I
those.
get that.
What you
Yeah,
don't have is a bunch of flash in the pans, one trick ponies that get drafted high and just waste their fucking career because they don't learn to do anything but one thing.
right.
You don't have a bunch of, there's probably not, the bust rate probably isn't so high this year compared to some years where you'll get.
You got a point there because I can look at a lot of these picks that were picked up, and I don't see a lot of these guys being bust. And I think that's because a lot of these guys aren't going to come in and start a league. So like the expectation for these guys to come in and really do a lot probably isn't there because a lot of those guys aren't going to be those guys. But you have a few. Like I don't see Abdullah Carter sitting. I don't see Tyler Booker sitting. Like
Okay, those are like top 10 picks though.
Well, yeah, but
is Jackson Dart going to sit?
Of course he's gonna sit.
And
I feel like that was a waste.
Who's going to start?
Huh?
Then who's going to start?
I feel like they're gonna go Russ. The Giants. I feel like the Giants gonna have to go Russ. Are you talking about draft picks?
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, it's Russ or Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like it was a lot of gap fillers, guys. Like you're gonna need to fill in those. Not like you said, they're not. Wasn't a lot of glory hogs. It was a lot of guys that's gonna fill those roles that like you're weak at, but they're not like
they're just not brand names. They're just as good as players any other year. They're just not brand names. They're going to be fine. And like these first, second round or top 60 picks are going to be bums. They're not going to be bums necessarily.
No.
There's more starters than that. But later in the draft, they're not going to find a bunch of starters. But that's every year.
Because I've seen a few receivers that came out or a few DBs that came out, and I'm like, they're not going to be great. They're not going to be great cover DBs, but they're going to be great on special teams. They're going to be great gunners. And that's and I feel like a lot of people forget how important those positions are. Like having a solid guy running down, because those guys are important too. And I feel like that's what you got a lot in the draft. Those specialists in the sense that they can fill in. They're not just like their position. Like, this guy was drafted as a DB, but he can probably thrive on special teams. He could probably thrive in certain positions. And a lot. And another thing was the cornerback from UNC. I think he was picked in the second round. I can't remember his name. Right off the bat, it said he's going to be a slot special team guy. I thought that was really cool because it doesn't. Cool. Can't remember his name. I remember when they was talking about it because it was just like the first time I've actually heard the color commentary speaking about a player that's coming in to play special teams, drafted in like the second round. I've never seen that before. So it's really cool when it was like showing love to a side of the game that doesn't get the acknowledgement. So it was really cool because it's like you expect a cornerback when you get a cornerback who's drafted, they're like, oh, he's going to play cornerback. But it's like, well, this guy's going to be a slot guy. He's going to be a special team. And it's just like, it was like one of those things that was actually showcased. Like what you call the meat and potatoes of the draft. You fill in those spots where like your main course, you're not, it's more of filling those gaps where you're hurting, where you need that improvement, you need that extra blend, where I feel like the Eagles could fill all their gaps.
Okay. Who's in a better situation, Abdul Carter or Mason Graham?
I think Abdul Carter. And the reason why I think Abdul Carter, because he has they have Dexter Lawrence, they have Kayvon Thibodeau, don't have. They don't have. No, Aziz is now with the. BJ is good. So but I feel like just having Dexter Lawrence and having Kayvon Thibodeau, they just picked up somebody else in the offseason. They got a nice that front seven is okayish enough to where they can actually produce some pressure. But it may not matter. But I feel like that's a better situation than Cleveland Browns because although Mason has Garrett, there's not much else. Because I can't really look at the Cleveland Browns like outside of Myles Garrett last season, where were they producing defensively? So I would say Abdul Carter.
Okay, well, Kayvon Thibodeau had 5 sacks last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the weapon that you seem to believe he is. He's really not.
I trusted Kayvon. I feel
I
like
would
this
not
was,
trust him.
but I feel like that was a setup though. That was a setup though. That was a setup. That was a bad situation because both of those guys are going into bad situations. I just trusted the Giants.
No, one actually has a good person next to him, and the other one plays for the Giants. Like the fact that Abdul Carter is going to come in and already be the number 1 edge rusher on that team tells me that he's got a worse situation because he's going to be expected to get those fucking sacks. Thibodeau's had years to get it. He hasn't produced enough. He's questionable as a pass rusher. And the other guy's a D tackle. Mason Graham is a D tackle. He's just there to clog gaps. He's got people on the sides of him to get set to get this rush the passer is what I'm trying to say. He's got weapons. He's got help. Thibodeau is not helpful enough, and Abdul Carter is going to has to take on their responsibility straight out the gate. But I mean, yeah, Mason Graham has another tackle next to him that's experienced and been around the block a few seasons, in Malik Collins. So I think Mason Graham is in a better position because he's with a more developed defense. I mean, you get like even the secondary is better than the Giants is.
Oh, absolutely.
Linebackers are better than the Giants is, and he gets to learn from a Hall of Famer. He's definitely, I would say he's in a better situation.
I hope so.
I mean, the Giants, I don't know, man. I think they're still in the tank. The Browns will still be in the tank. A D lineman isn't going to change your trajectory in the season anyway. So, next one, Ashton Jency or Amari and Hampton?
When Amari and Hampton get drafted.
Chargers.
I want to go Amari and Hampton because they're going to give him. I don't know. In both situations, they're going to give him the prize. They're both going to beat.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people might disagree with me, but I feel like Geno Smith is a better quarterback in that conversation. That's because I've just never been a fan of Herbert. I feel like he's like a fucking. It's like
Herbert is definitely overrated.
Yeah, like his bar is just here, and like he doesn't really. He just hits his bar every single week. Everybody's just all rave about it.
Yeah.
It's not that good. But I feel like both running backs are gonna beat. I feel like Hampton being able to run behind Joe Alt might be for him to be the advantage there.
That's probably Hampton.
I feel like they both will.
You got Harbaugh, who's already a year in, and he likes to run the ball. He's already built this team to run the ball, as he did last season. He had good success until later in the season running the ball. So I think by that, that's going to be the focus. That's where Hampton has the advantage because he's not going to be the only weapon. Like they're not going to stack to challenge him because you got McConkey and a bunch of decent weapons on the outside.
That
Like,
part.
I mean, Genty's definitely going to have a tight squeeze because they're definitely going to stack the line to stop him because there's no one on the boundary they have to worry about. Not really. There's no receiver that they're threatened by. Their next threat is a tight end. And he's going to be playing on the line too. So I don't know. I got to go with Hampton myself.
I'll say that one thing about the Raiders that I'm because Chip Kelly hasn't served as the OC at the NFL level yet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to see without him having the concern of anything else, because this is the first time he's OC. He may have OC before, like way before me, but I don't know his history prior to Oregon. But this is the first time I'll get to see him serve as an OC in the NFL level. So I'm very curious to see how he's going to do that.
He was an OC last year at Ohio State.
No, I mean at the NFL level. I want to see how he.
Was he the Niners OC at one point?
He was the head coach.
Oh,
Head coach. Yeah, I want to see without having the concern of everything else, him just serving as the OC, him just that being his only focus. I want to see how he thrives there because I feel like it's going to be something interesting because he was very dynamic when he was only focused on calling plays in Philadelphia, except because we saw what happened when he was just only calling plays. He like that team was like crazy good. So I want to see what happens. I'm very curious about it. I want to see how he uses it. I'm very curious about it. My eyes are really open for that.
Okay. Chet McMillan with the Panthers, Emeka Ibuka with the Bucks, or Matthew Golden with the Packers?
The Bucks still got God, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go with.
They still got both. They still got Godwin and Evans.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with. You said.
Let me double check. I always have to double check. About simple shit. I can be wrong, but I can't be wrong. All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with
Mike Edwins, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan. They're all still there.
So who was the guy that the Bucks got? I think you said. Did you say
Ibuka?
It was Ibuka. Yeah, I'm gonna say he'll probably have. Well, he'll have less focus on him, but I mean, he's probably gonna have a lot more of a ladder decline than the other kid. But I would say like while he's on the field, he'll probably get less focus with leaving. I mean, the way it's supposed to go is he'll probably get more open targets because they're going to focus more on God and Evans. That's how it's supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
It may not go that way because defenses are a lot more smarter. Coordinators are a lot more smarter nowadays.
Right.
So they can scheme to prevent stuff like that.
I gotta go with Chet McMillan. Just because he'll be the number one by default out there.
Doesn't Carolina, right?
Yeah. So, he'll be the default number one receiver over there. Because somebody's got to be. So, I mean, I believe he'll have as much chance to get a very strong chance to get rookie of the year. I'm gonna go check out their preliminary depth chart. Yeah, they got him as the number one receiver.
He'll be so like Carolina going to compete this year. I'm not even going. I ain't even going. I feel like they're going to compete this year.
And they picked up Jimmy Horn Jr. later on in the 6th. So,
and they picked up Moose. Maybe Moose. I mean, Moose Muhammad.
Oh, yeah. Well, they had to pick him up just to be polite. Just to be nice to his deadheaded dad, because the dad's like a legend around the team.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You got a good enough chance.
Okay, your boy Colston Loveland with the Bears, or it's Ty Warren with the Colts?
I'm going with Loveland. He in the best position to win. I feel like the Colts are on the downturn. I don't like. I feel like this might be the last year for Anthony Richardson.
Mm.
I hate to say that, but I feel like if don't shake something up this year, it's either Anthony Richardson or Shane Steichen.
Yeah, see, this will be Richardson's third season. Am I
It's
right?
not
Third
fair.
season?
I don't think it's enough time for him. But
No, third season. You should be as a quarterback. Third season is the perception you are what you are by third season.
yeah,
The time to improve, and it's not true because there's been many exceptions that have gotten significantly better later on, like Geno or Darnold. They got better later on, but he'll be in year three. He should year three, and I guess probably multiple systems, but he should have the experience and the reps under his belt to know what the hell he's doing by now.
yeah.
Whatever strategy, that whole throw it deep and hope and pray receivers down there strategy, that can't work anymore. That's not going to fly. He doesn't have that parachute anymore.
I'll tell you why that doesn't work in Indianapolis. Because he ain't. It's only a Donnie Mitchell there. He's only got a Donnie Mitchell. That's it. I'm tired. I'm not going to trust my. I'm not going to sit here and say I think highly of Michael Pittman. I wanted to. I don't.
Alec Pierce?
Alec Pierce. The problem with Alec Pierce, I think he's been hurt.
He was okay last year. I don't remember him getting hurt. I mean, I remember him being just sitting around in fantasy a lot because nobody wanted to pick him up for half the damn season. Nobody trusted him, but he was getting numbers fairly consistently. So somebody, I mean, especially there were a lot of injuries in Indianapolis last year, so somebody had to get those numbers.
I feel like Donnie is like the only deep threat, but like and I feel like when you got a guy like Anthony Richardson who is that big arm, you need a deep threat.
Yeah.
And I feel like something's got to give. It has to be this year.
No, I don't know. Let's say give him. I mean, Daniel Jones got 6 years. That's all I'm gonna say. Daniel Jones got 6 years. Why can't Anthony Richardson be worthy?
I mean, I feel like it's not fair, but yeah. I feel like Daniel Jones got way more time than he was supposed to get because we knew he was.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
We knew he was trash, but they're not going to give Anthony Richardson benefit of the doubt,
right?
Because of people like Daniel Jones.
All right, we're coming up on 90 minutes on this one, and I'm all out of questions on that, so we can hold off on the Eagles talk till the next one. Oh, wait. Duigalele, Nick Nash, Xavier Restrepo, and Shiloh Sanders were all signed as undrafted free agents. You got anything for that in 2 minutes?
No, I don't have much on this.
All right. Who has a longer career, Shiloh or Shador?
That's a question. I feel like Shiloh, because he's a quarterback and he's a lot younger. Shiloh's 25.
Damn. Okay.
26, I believe, by the end of the season, he'll be 26.
Okay.
Like he's already on the back foot in his career. So I'll say Shiloh. I mean, I'll say Shador. I think Shiloh will probably make more of an impact immediately because he'll come in. Because I feel like he'll make the roster on the Buckets with special teams. So I feel like he'll have like a more cemented role. Like he'll know what his role is. So be a special team. So he'll probably be more effective. And then he'll maybe go the route of DeMar Hamlin with someone with the opportunity to step up.
Right.
But not die.
Especially that.
But I think Shiloh is Shador. See? Come on, what you doing? I think Shador will ultimately have the better career. I think Shiloh will get a quicker start.
Okay.
As a special team, just because
Nick Nash to Falcons.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Huh? Nick Nash to the Falcons. Won their receiving triple crown last season in college.
I like it, but there's still a lot of question marks with Penix. I can't. Like, yeah, I like it. I like it because Atlanta's in one of those positions where they're figuring out what they got, and they're in a position where they're figuring out that Michael Penix is going to be the best thing for them. And at this point, the only place they can go is forward. They can only see progress because they're not going to get worse. They're not going to get worse with Penix. And I think bringing in weapons for Penix, for him to actually come together and get comfortable with their new weapons. If he's going to get his first opportunity to get the shine, he's going to be working with these young guys a lot. I like the pick. I mean, I'm kind of upset that you said he was a UDFA.
Mm-hmm.
That's UDFA.
Yep.
A triple crown winner UDFA. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He'll make him regret it.
I hope so. He'll make him regret it.
And DJ Uiagalelei, who we talked about earlier, former high school #1 quarterback, replacement, heir apparent to Trevor Lawrence at one point, was a UDFA.
For the Chargers.
Yep.
I think he's in a really good position right now because he has Herbert. I'll say Herbert is very open. He's a solid quarterback, but he's overrated. However, if you want to be holding the clipboard for somebody, Justin Herbert's not a bad person. He's a lot better than both. He'll probably beat out Easton Stick if he's still there. Or Max Dunn if he's still there. He'll probably beat one of those guys. I'd happily hold the clipboard for Justin Herbert, and especially when you got someone who was a former pro quarterback in Harbaugh. I think he's in a really good position. He's in a really good position to advance his career.
A better position would have been Vegas, but I'm more concerned that there's just the drop off. Boy had so much promise allegedly, and by the time he gets out of school, he's completely fallen off the map. Didn't even know where he was this season because he's just fallen so far from grace, from being the chosen one, the next one, to nothing. Well, hey, it's on him. Only person he can blame is himself because there's nobody else is responsible. He fucked up. Some points he made the wrong decisions. He made the wrong flow throws. He didn't put the effort in. It's on him.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of drop off for a lot of great players. They just don't put in the effort.
Yeah.
Like a lot of guys, they come into the game and they think like, I gotta just focus on football, but they only talk about what's in between the white lines. That's the only time they feel like they need to work. Mm-hmm. There's got to be some effort outside of that because there's not enough trying to develop your throws. It's more like, oh, I just got to make this throw. But you got to develop your arm skills. You actually got to study. And studying isn't just in the books. It's not just the film room. You actually have to perfect your throws. And I feel like a lot of guys can do that in their careers. And it does over time, not improving your intangibles, not improving your techniques, that will screw you over because like it gets old and it doesn't always work. So you gotta develop. Like some guys, you have like that one drop step move. Like you get a running back who has that one drop step move with a dead leg that you could probably get a play, but after a while you do it so many times, you don't improve on that or don't add anything to it. That's just going to be you. You're not going to have anything else, and you're going to fall. Like, let's think that Ashton Genty only had one move. At some point, that one move is going to you're going to be a one-trick pony. You got nothing else to offer. So I feel like that's what happens with a lot of guys when they're really good coming in. They just don't put the effort in to like expand on their skill set.
Okay, good point. I got nothing. So when you're ready, we can bring it home.
Well, I feel like this is going to be a short shot year of Philadelphia taking another trophy. Now, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to jinx anything. As long as the Cowboys stay the Cowboys, I'm all right. Everything. The Cowboys are going to stay Cowboys. They're not allowed here. Boulevard, let them know what they can do. I feel like I'm losing them.
Listen, we already lost them. This is 95 minutes into the episode. They're gone. They went to bed.
They went to bed.
They went to bed. They hit the bench.